Daf Pezai and Amud Aleph by the bottom by the Mishnah. The following workers can eat from their employer's food as they're working. Midoraita from the Torah. If he's working with the fruit attached to the ground while the work is completed, yani the harvesting time. Or if it's already detached, but before the work is complete, before it's considered ready produce that is chayav and ma'aser or halal. Or he's working, and that's only obviously he's working with stuff that grows from the ground. If he's working with stuff that does not grow from the ground, he can't just start using whatever he's using. The following thing you cannot eat. If you're using produce attached to the ground, even while the fruits, when the fruit is still growing before harvesting season. You also can't use it if it's detached after the work is complete, after it's considered ready produce, which is already chayav and ma'aseh. And also people who are working with things that do not grow from the ground, you can't eat that stuff. So if you're working in the bakery and you're fixing the bakery goods, you can't just start eating the baked goods. Okay, how do we know they allowed to eat the stuff? Pasuk says, when you come into your friend's vineyard, you can eat. The Gemara says, I see that you're able to eat, let's say, grapes from a vineyard, because the Pasuk said, kerem. Call me lamina, I don't know that they're able to eat other stuff as well. We learn from the vineyard, the Pasuk says, the Gemara says, ma kerem yuchad, just like vineyard is special. Just like something a vineyard is grows from the ground, and the worker is able to eat while harvesting. So into anything else that grows from the ground. Says, okay, but 1 second, you can't necessarily learn from vineyard to everything else because vineyard has special rules of olelot. Olelot is like the version of leket from other stuff, which is in incomplete clusters of grapes are considered ololot for the poor people. So you can't compare that to other cases to learn out that the other stuff's able to be eaten as well. Because kerem is different with this special halachot. The Gemara says, Gamrin and Nikama, we learn from the fact that you're able to use the standing grain. So Gemara says, okay, so kamamina gufamin, how we know standing grain in general. The pasuk says, Kitavo bekamara echa vekasav sab milot biyadaha. When you come to the standing grain of your friend, you can eat while you are working. The Gemara says, Malakam mashakin hayad dahala. But grain has hala, right? Wheat and stuff, you have your chiyuv hala. So maybe that's also different. Just like kerem was different with a lot. So how do you learn this elsewhere? Gemara says, how do we know that this specific word kama by grain over here is referring to challah grain, yani wheat? Maybe it's referring to it's referring to all grain, yani rice even, which is not challah. So we're first going to prove our point, then we're going to finish with the question. Asya kama from the word kama. By another pasuk, it says when you're cutting the grain with the sickle, mahatam kamadim chayav challah, like that pasuk is referring to barley, which is chayav and challah grain. So over here regarding the worker, you're allowed to use it, it's referring to challah. So therefore, if that's the case, that our pasuk is referring to barley grain, challah grain. So this case is different because it has challah. Gemara says kerem yachiach. Nope, that's not true because kerem, we're able to have, and there is no challah. Kerem shekin hayad be'olot, but then 1 second, kerem is different though because you have olot. Kama yochiach tochiach. Kama also has a problem because kama does not have olot. Going back and forth again. V'chazar adin. Now the inconsistencies keep on matching up. Lo reizeh karizeh. This one doesn't match up. But however, the common denominator is shekin davar sheiglu min hakarka b'shakim po'el achelbo, that it grows from the ground and the worker eats while they're working. So to everything else. The Gemara says 1 second, that's not a good proof. These things, however, have the ability to be brought on the Mizbeach. So the Gemara says, maybe you could include olives. Olives also the workers should be able to eat because olives are also used in the Mizbeach as oil. The Gemara says, you don't need a proof for an olive because because the olive also is considered kerem. Pasuk says it says kerem zayit, olive vineyard, olive grove. When I said kerem zayit, no, it's not included in kerem because it's only considered kerem when it's called kerem zayit. But regular kerem is referring to grapes. so therefore it's not included. The Gemara says, okay, mikol makom kasher. So regardless, you have a question that maybe only mizbeach worthy stuff is eligible to be eaten. When it says when it says you use a sickle, all sickle items such as grains and beans, excluding olives. Where it says the word the sickle is used to teach something else. Only during the sickle, yani the harvesting time you eat, but if it's not the time you can't eat it. So we can't use this word chemesh to teach me this as well. Where it says, el kilyon El Nafka. We learned that pasuk that you go only during the harvest time is from the different pasuk of you can't put it into your kli. So therefore, the word sickle, the chaymesh, is able to teach me anything that's used to sickle. Gemara says tenach devar hamesh. That makes sense if it's using like this makes sense. This is an item that a sickle is used, like grains and beans. Dilal bar hamesh minan. How do you know that other stuff you're allowed to still eat? You're still allowed to eat, yani like tree fruit. Gemara says ella mar yitzchak amar kara. Pasuk says kama. The pasuk says grain. That about kol ba'ale kama, anything that's standing grain, anything that's standing produce. The Gemara says okay, but amart kama kama b'halal. You just told me that the word standing grain is the one that teaches me that standing grain is things that are chayav and halal. So you can't use this as well to include everything else. The Gemara says, that was only before when we thought the word sickle was used to teach me sickle worthy items. But now they know the sickle teaches you anything you use sickle is used for. Even if it's not chala, kama lama is why I need the word kama to teach me that about kobe kama to teach me any standing produce. So now, right now we established all that. Bahashta the nafkalan min chemesh umekama. Now that we have kama and chemesh to teach me fruits or items that are standing or basically any crop. What does the pasuk teach me? You could come into your fellow's vineyard. Teach you as well. Teach you for the following halacha. The says, Ki tavo, when you will come, ne'emar kan bi'ah, and ne'emar lan lo tavo alav shemesh. The pasuk says elsewhere, don't have the sun set up, don't come upon him. What does it mean? The come? Just like over there is referring to worker, so too over here is referring to a worker. Sounds like maybe without that exclusion, I think that I could walk into any field and eat it if I'm passing by. The kerem re'echa to your friend's vineyard, below the kerem kuti. That doesn't apply by a kuti, the sketch Jews. You can not only eat while you're working there, but you can also put it into your vessel. That makes sense according to the opinion that holds that if you're not allowed to steal from a kuti, that's why you need the pasuk to allow you the worker to use it. The quiz the kuti mutar according to the opinion holds that you're allowed to steal from a kuti. Hashtag is them mutar poel nibaye. If you're allowed to steal from them, then why do I need a permission as a worker to use it? Where it says mokim la bekerem re'echa v'lo b'shakdesh. Use the pasuk not to exclude a kuti, but rather excludes hekdesh. You can't use hekdesh stuff. You can only use your friend's stuff. Now we're continuing that Braita, which teaches you what you're allowed to do. V'achata, you can eat the food. Don't suck the juice out of fruits, grapes, because then you'll consume more. Anadim grapes, lo anadim v'tvarcha. You can't eat the grapes and something else that's there. Kinafshecha, when it says as if it's yours, means as if it belongs to the owner, so it belongs to the worker. You can eat it as if he's the owner. Just like what belongs to you, you can eat in patur before having dumas there. After to the worker as well, does not have to do maaser. You can eat till you're full, but don't eat too much, till past full. And you can't put in your vessel. When you're putting it into the owner's basket that you're harvesting for him, you can eat. If you're not putting it inside the vessel, if you're not harvesting or gathering for him, then you're not eligible to eat. If you're sweeping the vineyard, but you're not actually dealing with the fruits, you're not allowed to eat. Says, fruits don't become chayav and maaser. Tevel means fruits that were not separated yet. So if it's separate, if I take off maaser off of it, it's not tevel anymore. It's mutar for me to eat. So it does not become eligible to be maaser. It's not chayav and maaser. Until it sees the house. It's considered processed and ready for chayav when it is by the house. Says I removed the produce from the house. You see, the produce is only by the house. Rabbi Yochanan says, even the house, even the courtyard, it makes it chayav maaseh. So the first one is he has to go through the door of the house. First one is even the courtyard. Shenamar the pasuk says, you shall eat it in your gates. We see that you are chayav in your gates. Rabbi Yochanan ma'anativ min abayit. So Rabbi Yochanan do with the word house. Sounds like you're chayav and only in the house. When I said the Malach, he'll tell you, Haser dumed bayit. Ma'avad mishmerat. Haser mishmeret. No, the house teaches you that your courtyard that makes you chayav is like your house. Only a courtyard that is watched and protected and guarded like your house, that's the type of courtyard to be chayav. What does Rabbi do with the word gate? How come he only says house? Pasuk says gates, like Rabbi Yochanan. Referring to he's the works the gates teach you that bringing fruits into the house is chayav only if you bring it through the gate. But if you bring it through the roof or the backyard, you will be patur from maaser, which the Torah teaches you. Like we're trying to show you how you're chayav and maaser to be yotzei maaser. Yes, there are loopholes make us a patur, but we don't want that as a Jewish nation. He has the question. If it belongs to the owner, belongs to the worker. He can eat as if it's his. It seems like if a buyer would buy it while he's picking and harvesting it, it sounds like the buyer would be chayav. Like even in the field, forget about the house, forget about the gate. It sounds like, oh, the worker and the owner can eat it, but if it was sold, then the guy would be chayav immediately. It sounds like no matter where he is. Referring to a fig tree that's in the garden outside the courtyard, and its branches are reaching into the courtyard. Or according to the opinion, that's according to the courtyard opinion, that's in the courtyard. The one the second opinion is where the branches are reaching by the house, and that's where chayav. Otherwise, yes, it'd be patur. So how come the owner's not chayav? If it's by his house / gates, how come he can eat? Where it says, or the worker even, where it says, the owners are focusing on his tree. Therefore, until it's harvested as a tree, even if a few things fall down by his house, which would otherwise be chayav, because the tree is not harvested, it's still patur. The buyer, however, his whole focus is on these fruits that he bought. So this small basket of figs, even though there's 10,000 still on the tree, doesn't make a difference. Once he buys it, it's chayav. Amen.